Okay, I think the live stream has now begun, so let's start. First of all, I want to apologize to everyone who has been waiting for quite some time for the live stream to start. I apologize because the Miss Earth preliminaries actually started late and we wanted to finish it, but apparently there is a fashion show that I didn't know if whether that was announced in the original schedule that they included in the show. So the entire preliminary has now become like a 3-hour live stream event. So I really apologize for the delay, but we're starting now because it would be too late if we start at around 10 o'clock. Okay, so this evening, I'm supposed to discuss with everyone what are my thoughts on the Eco Project presentation as well on the preliminaries. However, because of the very lengthy period of the Miss Earth prelims, I needed now to condense everything that I wanted to say. So first things first, with regards to the preliminaries, I love the outdoor setting of the stage. What I don't like is the very windy situation because some of the girls had a difficulty with their national costumes in their presentation. I think it was Haiti who had difficulty with her huge, peacock extension type of thing on her national costume. I also didn't like the very canned songs that was used for the live stream of the preliminaries. It's not really it didn't add anything at all into the atmosphere of the preliminary competition. So, okay. So, let me just siguro for this live stream, I'm just going to break down into several points. What are my thoughts on the Eco Project, on the national costumes, on the swimsuit competition, and the standouts on the swimsuit competition. And then we will move on to some Q&As. I'll try to make this as short as possible and contain it within maybe an hour at the most. Okay, so welcome everyone to who's here for our live stream discussion for who are the girls that I think are the Miss Earth Frontrunners. So at the end of the live stream, I will be listing down some of the thoughts that I have on who are the girls that we should be looking out for, especially now that we've seen the candidates in the swimsuit competition, in the evening gown competition, as well on their Eco Project presentation. So we have a little bit of an understanding on who are the ones who are good on stage and can speak. As well as I'm taking some notes on some of my previous live stream on the girls' presentation on their tree talk as well as on their introduction. Okay, so let's start first with the Eco Project because if we're going to look at the Eco Project of the girls this year, I think that the four groups, among the four groups, the one that really stuck to me the most is the Trico Library project of the Asia and Oceania group. And the reason for that, it's because among all the four presented eco projects, it's the Asia and Oceania group who really gave a very easily implementable, very well thought out plan for their eco project. Unlike the ones for Africa and Europe and the Americas, I think there is more cohesiveness in thought and in the presentation style with the with the eco project of Asia and Oceania. I think they were able to break it down into several stages. The first stage takes care of waste management because of the plastic pollution. The second stage discusses is a solution doon sa climate mitigation through tree planting. And the third stage of their eco project deals with information dissemination. And I think that is a very strong, that is a very strong presentation of the Asia and Oceania group as well, because during the start of their presentation, each member of the entire Asia and Oceania candidates were able to speak in their video. So in that case, they were able to give enough spotlight, I would say, on each of the girls with regards to the entire presentation. I like the idea of the African group with regards to the effect of climate change, but I think in terms of the possible solutions that they've presented, it was a little bit all over the place. I think that in terms of the impact, though, I think the Africa group have a very impactful presentation because it is one of those eco projects that are ambitious, but at the same time, I think they are able to discuss and disseminate the information why it is important and why it is ambitious. Europe and the Americas discussed fast fashion, and I think that is a very smart move for them. However, in terms of the content, with regards to fast fashion, I think I find their thoughts a little bit scattered. I think that because fast fashion is a large problem, the scattered presentation is something that I was expecting. They were able to discuss about consumer behavior. They were able to discuss about alternatives on fast fashion, like thrifting, like repairing your clothes, like go local with your what do you call this, with your purchases, and using eco-friendly fabrics. However, in terms of the large scale problem, they were not able to present it in such a way that they are able to discuss and give possible solution on the numerous effects of fast fashion, like waste. What are they going to do with the waste? What are they going to do to mitigate and lessen consumer behavior, on consumerism, on consumer thinking on fashion being disposable? I think that is an area that they really need to focus on, because there's a lot of possible solutions there that they can use. And also, when it comes to fast fashion, there is a lot of areas that needs to be discussed and needs to be researched, because when you talk about fast fashion, there's a lot of job displacement that's going to happen for smaller economies, for third world countries where all of these jobs are outsourced. So I think that's going to be a huge problem if it was not, well thought out in terms of what are the possibilities that we can do in order for this job displacement not to happen. I feel strongly with regards to fast fashion because I am part of the industry, and I am part of the academe as well, where we are now being taught on sustainability and how to include sustainability in the way that we teach our subjects in class. And I think there is a lot of loopholes that can still be addressed in terms of fast fashion that the European and the American groups were not able to discuss thoroughly. So I think in that sense, there is still a lot of areas that can be improved on. Okay, so let's see what are the comments here. Travel Junkie is here. Sabi niya, present po, happy with NE, habang nga lang, di pa nga at. Yes, I think, here's the thing with regards to timetable. I think we need, as Asians, I think this is not something that is unique in among Filipinos, the Filipino time. I think it's something that is present in all Asian countries. Yung medyo may konting lag on punctuality. Japan though, is not sorry. I think that was terrible of me. I was just generalizing too much. However, I think when it comes to timetables, if you say that you're gonna start at 4 at 4 p.m., you gotta start at 4 p.m. because 4 p.m. in Vietnam translates to 5 p.m. here in the Philippines. And if they started at 6 p.m. here in the Philippines, and then they have like a 3-hour long program, they really need to get their schedules well together, because this is not the first time that there was a last minute addition to their schedules. If you remember, there was three or 2 times that nagpalit sila ng schedule. Dahil may mga dinagdag, binawas, ganyan. The preliminaries is supposed to be on the 16th, but oh no, sorry, the opening event, there wasn't supposed to be like a evening gown competition when they first posted about their schedules, and then suddenly nagkaroon ng evening gown preliminaries there. So it was kind of, I find that it seems like the Vietnamese organizers are a little bit disorganized in terms of their schedule. So probably a little bit of tweaking and polishing here and there. Sabi ni Elm Street PNG, hello Miss Earth. Hello Miss Earth. Sana hindi po tayo late dahil hindi po nakakaganda yung timetable natin, because for me, I think a 2-hour preliminary show would be more than enough. I think what they could have done was, instead of pushing for the fashion show in an open air area, they could have merged it with the opening event for Miss Earth, and rather than have it outside, they could have the red carpet leading all of the candidates in their evening gowns or even in their cocktail dresses muna, and then have the evening gown competition and the fashion show in that same event, so that it's not too expansive in terms of kain ng oras for the preliminaries, dahil it's too long. The 3-hour show was too long. I find all the candidates having to go out in their swimsuit and in their national costumes first before going out individually. I find that repetitive. Okay lang siguro na gawin yon doon sa first na segment, which is the national costume show, but to do it again on the swimsuit, parang it's just too much. Kumakain lang siya ng oras. So, okay, Travel Junkie is here. Sabi niya, the fashion show is not included in points. Yes, I agree. Walang nabanggit na may point system siya doon, that they are judged. However, I think that the fashion show would have been much better if it was in a indoor area or inside a hotel, para mas relaxed yung mga candidates at hindi yung blowing in their face yung hangin. Because I think it would go well with the swimsuit competition, yung open air na venue. But for a national costume, kapag may mabibigat kang costume, if you have costumes that are a little bit on the heavy side, it would be very difficult to navigate them and have it, how do you say this, have it ramped, catwalked on stage. So what they could have done is separate and combine certain preliminary events, like perhaps the fashion show and the evening gown together, if they don't want to put the swimsuit and evening gowns in just one preliminary show, and then have the national costume and swimsuit in just a separate show. So I think masyadong mahaba. It's too long for us to have a 3-hour preliminary show that includes a fashion show as well. Going Popcorn Sir, sabi niya, Going Popcorn says, hello sir, kala ko late ako, nanonood pa din ako kasi ng prelim na show. Yun na nga, Popcorn, kasi ang haba, and it's hindi siya yung haba na na entertaining yung yung show. But I think Miss Earth really dropped the ball on the music because the music is kind of boring. I don't find it entertaining. I don't find it, fast-paced enough or energetic enough to, grab my attention for a full 3-hour show. My problem with the music is that it felt like it's like a canned music na you can get from from those no copyright na mga websites for music that you can use for your videos. I felt that it lacked the necessary energy in order to go well with the movements of the candidates. And also, if you haven't noticed, especially when they were dancing in the swimsuit and in the national costume segment, didn't you notice that hindi sumasabay yung music with the movements? I think on the venue, on site, there is a different kind of music that is being played, and on the live stream on YouTube, it's a different song altogether. So I think that is also one of the things that I am not really a fan of. It really didn't feel like this is a very planned event. It felt like because they're monetizing, probably no, they are monetizing their live stream, because if you notice, may mga commercials in between. Kaya siguro they needed to use canned non-copyrighted music. Family Reyes, sabi niya, "Hi Miss Philippines, heart emoji." Okay. Going Popcorn, sabi niya, "Sana ang evening gown kasama na lang sa prelims instead yung fashion show." I kind of agree, because it would make it feel more of a preliminary competition. However, if they don't want to have the evening gown and the swimsuits together in an event, the best thing that they could have done is to elevate the evening gown competition. And instead of doing it in an outdoors venue, they could have done it in an indoor venue where they could have the evening gown competition as well as the fashion show. That would have been a better, synthesis of the events. Or have the swimsuits and the evening gown together, and then have the fashion show and the national costume show grouped together. So that is some of the options that they could have. So I kind of agree with what you said. Sabi ni Travel Junkie, "Any surprise candidates during the swimsuit? Indonesia for me is best in national costume." I agree. In terms of the swimsuit, mamaya na natin pag-usapan yan. I will be going through that in a bit. Going Popcorn says, "Saka walang interview with a panel na pwede manood ng public. May points yun sa mga previous competition." I kinda agree with that as well. As I was reviewing yung Miss Earth schedules, I was hoping that there was some sort of like an omission lang in terms of the closed door, the panel interviews, and tingin ko talagang wala. That makes me a little bit nervous, because if they removed the closed door interview, then there is huge chances that the girls who are not really good at speaking might enter the top 20. So, yun yung kaba ko. And also the no makeup challenge, the evaluation, I think is kind of missing as well on the judging. So I am hoping that they are doing that in a closed door, non-public na space. Because I think Miss Earth has always had that no makeup na what do you call this, na evaluation. So I am hoping na-omit lang nila or hindi lang nila ginawang public. But I do agree na hopefully may interview at saka may on my end may may isisingit pa rin nila before the finals on the 22nd yung no makeup challenge. Okay? Now, let's now go doon sa mismong preliminary ng national costume. Unahin na muna natin yung national costume because I think that it's the Americas who brought their A game in terms of the national costumes this year. I am not a fan though of the too many flora and fauna na mga costumes because it felt repetitive. I think that they've already done that year in, year out in Miss Earth and in other national costume competitions in other international pageant systems. So I think that the Miss Earth candidates really need to start thinking out of the box in terms of their national costumes because some of the costumes look like they were like using a lot of non-sustainable materials, a lot of plastics, although it is being said that during the national costume show that some of the materials are recycled. I just felt that it felt like there's so many opportunities that were missed in terms of creativity in terms of the national costumes. I do, however, recommend that moving forward, they could have gone more cultural in terms of their national costumes where they would use traditional materials for their costumes. That way, they are able to celebrate their culture and at the same time, make use of the local materials that they use for their traditional clothing. Because if I'm not mistaken, karamihan ng mga traditional clothes are made out of natural na mga fibers before the onset of polyester and all of these man-made fibers. So I do think that what they could have done in Miss Earth is propagate yung cultures, traditions in order for them to be able to showcase more natural na mga fibers that they use for their national costumes. Like for example, here in the Philippines, we use piña, we use abaca for our national costumes. I think there's a lot of opportunities that we can expand yung usage ng abaca and piña for our national costume na mga outfits for international competitions. I think Thai silk is a very lucrative business for Thailand, and they could have used that in terms of their national costume. So there's a lot of opportunities there that I think was missed, and I do hope that moving forward, people would think out of the box by using more sustainable fibers like linen, like I forgot the term for there's this fiber that is considered the most sustainable of all fibers. Lyocell there. Lyocell is actually is a fiber and fabric that yung waste material niya can be converted again to create new lyocell na fibers. So I think they could have used, something to that effect. Yung mga sustainable na mga yarns and fabrics that they could have used for their national costumes are hemp is one of those. Of course, linen is one of those. Lyocell is one of those. Organic cotton is one of those. And there are several more what do you call this? Na mga fibers. In fact, Vietnam itself have lotus silk that actually one of my students in one of the schools I teach in had a research on, and says that it is even more sustainable than silkworm na silk fabric. Okay, so I think in terms of the national costumes, I think it's about time that the candidates and their national directors would think outside of the box in terms of materials. Okay, Now, in terms of the standouts, I think I have like 12 or 30 or 15 na mga standouts, but iisa-isahin natin sila in a bit. Okay? Balik muna tayo sa comment section. Sabi ni Going Popcorn, yes sir, yung beauty of face competition yata yon. Plus yung swimsuit nila before covered ang face kasi ang judging is poise, form, and body lang. Yung finals din ata parang open air din ang venue. I do hope na it's an indoor para hindi masyado magulo, especially on the hair. If it's an indoor, pwede kang, you have the option to maglugay na kulot, mag straight hair na lugay. Unlike pag outdoor kasi, pag mahangin, you really need to be styled well in terms of hair. You don't want your hair to, to be on your face the entire time na nagpapasarela ka. I think that is the drawbacks of having a outdoor na venue. Okay, Rodwin Fiel is here. Sabi niya, present sir, kakagaling ko lang sa stream ng ME, apakatagal and ang sad lang na onti nanood. Maganda yung stage in fairness. Actually, umabot sa 2,000 plus or there was a one point na parang almost 3,000 yung nanonood or 4,000. But when natapos na yung swimsuit, that's when it suddenly dropped back to 1.7, 1.4, 1.2, ganun na lang yung nanonood. Because again, it was too long, way too long, and it started late pa. Some of the comments that I've been seeing on the Miss Earth website, or Facebook page pala, was that there are people that are actually have actually started to be on the lookout at around 4 p.m. here in the Philippines. That's another mistake of the Miss Earth, what do you call this? The Miss Earth organization. They did not specify that the 4 p.m. is actually Vietnam time. Nakalagay lang doon is +7 something. So it did not say that it is Vietnamese time. So for those that are not what do you call this? That are not in the know, yung +7 na yon denotes yung time zone. Dito kasi sa atin Pilipinas, I think we're +8 something. So, pag +7, it means that nauuna tayo. Dahil yung tayo is nasa 8, something like that. So, it was something I think that needed to be specified. In fact, when I posted about the preliminaries, when somebody asked me about the actual time, I had to Google the time zone difference between the Philippines and Vietnam. So, there. Nasaan na ba tayo? Travel Junkie says, 2022, wala din interview, mostly on video presentation. So, probably, it's the video presentation that they are going to judge yung ability to speak. So, I do hope na I do hope na magawan nila ng paraan na there is a judging on intelligence na aspect. Okay? Now, let's talk about the national costumes before we move doon sa all-important na kung sino yung mga standouts. Yung mga frontrunners, sino yung mga nasa listahan ko ng frontrunners. Okay, so let's start first with the standouts. So I'm going to do alphabetically because lahat ng mga lahat ng mga nilista ko are alphabetically based on sa paglabas nila doon sa preliminaries kanina. And I omitted yung mga hindi talaga tumatak sa akin. So I only listed around, that's 5, 10, around 13 national costumes that really stood out for me. So Albania is in my list because she really had a very interesting face with her national costume. I think it was more of nadala ng mukha niya, nadala ng presentation niya yung national costume niya. It's not necessarily that her national costume was the best national costume that I've seen in the competition, but in terms of the presentation plus yung because Diyosa siya, she really tumatak siya sa akin because of the very wow na opening doon sa national costume show. Then the next girl that really gave me an impression, it was Colombia. I like yung extension ng kanyang national costume. However, because she's only 5'6" inches tall, nalamon siya nung laki nung kanyang national costume. And I do think that her body proportions are makes her look taller than she actually is. But yung laki nung national costume niya, it felt like it really enveloped her rather than it was something that would have made her look taller. So I think wrong choice lang yung laki. But in terms of the concept, in terms of the execution, I think she really has one of the more standout national costumes in this year's competition. Of course, hands down, I think the national costume winner should have been or should be Indonesia. I think her horse X Pegasus looking na national costume is like an ode to a guardian spirit of nature or of the forest. I think the execution was really gorgeous. I am only a little bit how do you say this? Apprehensive. Ayun. I'm a bit apprehensive with the performance aspect of Miss Indonesia, but in terms of the design of the national costume, I think that was the best that they could have. And I think that is the best costume that should win, best in national costume this year. I also like Japan. The beautiful thing about Japan is that, again, although it is a national costume that is flora inspired, there is something, very unique and modern in its interpretation. I like the all pink, all fluffy pink na very kawaii yung kanyang national costume. It really, it really made me feel like this is a national costume that Miss Japan had fun designing or had fun, collaborating with her designer with regards to the overall look, the overall presentation, because I can still see some Japanese elements doon sa bodies ng kanyang national costume, and it looks spectacular. I only hope that the candidates would have had a better and stronger pasarela skills, because they all did, pretty well in the designs. It's the presentation na kinulang, na kinapos, in my opinion, for a lot of the candidates this year. Now, moving on, I also like Mauritius for her for her national costume. Nadaan niya sa face. However, the costume in itself lacked harmony. Yung brown and yung turquoise aqua na color, they should have looked complementary. But in terms of the overall design, there is like a disjoint in terms of yung material, yung visual texture ng kanyang national costume. Mongolia, for me, is one of the most cohesive national costumes. If you're going to ask me to choose between Indonesia versus with Mongolia, in terms of impact, I would say it's Indonesia. But in terms of cultural significance, in terms of yung lavishness and richness, intricacy of the national costume, if you're gonna ask me which is the more traditional and has more cultural meaning, I would have to say it's Mongolia's, green costume. How it was so gorgeous for me. The layers of different textures dun sa kanyang national costume, yung fur with the satin, with the embroidery. I think it was a costume that was so visually stimulating, interesting. It was, for me, the most it doesn't look very costumey. it actually looks like if I am a Mongolian and I will go to a, you know, formal function, it's something that I can wear. And it would make me look, you know, very expensive. I think I like that aspect of Mongolia's national costume. So if they're not going to give it to Indonesia, I do hope that they would consider Mongolia as a possible winner for the best in national costume. Now, Netherlands, again, face. The pleats, however, did not work well with her national costume. I like the fact that, like Canada, she used like leaves on her national costume. This time around with Netherlands, what made the national costume look great is actually Noah herself. It's actually her beautiful face. So I think that her national costume was generic for me. It's something that if I put on another candidate that has, you know, 4 seasons in her country, it would work for her as well. However, because Noah, Miss Netherlands, has a very gorgeous face, it was something that carried over, you know, her national costume. If it was not if we're going to talk about design alone, I don't think that Netherlands had the best costume. To be honest, it was for me generic. Any other country that has 4 seasons, that has autumn in it, would have, you know, worn that as well. But again, face card. Then we have Philippines. I think for me, Philippines really gave us the wow factor that we're looking for. Yanas, Maria Makiling, if I'm not mistaken, yung inner niya as compared to her what do you call this, to her outer na structure, it kind of reminded me of her Binibining Pilipinas national costume, where she also wore Maria Makiling inspired costume. I would have preferred if she recycled her national costume from Binibining Pilipinas to Miss Earth, because again, it goes well with the recycling recycling theme. However, the design itself of her national costume was really gorgeous. So I have no problem with that. Ang wish ko lang is sana dinala niya yung structure, yung mountain structure, yung gubat structure a little bit forward doon sa stage, so that she could have milked the reveal a little bit more. Okay. Then I have where's my next? Okay. Then I have Russia. Russia. Okay, let me explain why Russia is on my list. I know you would say na, Sir Jason, bakit ganon? Yung national costume niya mukha lang naman siyang puno. The thing is, if you listen doon sa explanation ng kanyang national costume, she was actually wearing a national costume that is made out of eco leather. So that for me gives a different, understanding, a different level of appreciation for her national costume, because she's using something that is something that is cruelty free as compared to using actual leather. So that is what made me impressed with her national costume, and every other elements in her costume was also from recycled material. So again, in terms of the thought process, in terms of the sustainability factor, there's something there that we can all learn from. And then I also love the national costume of South Africa. South Africa created a costume that is very tied in with her culture as well as her advocacy. As you all know, Miss South Africa is actually a advocate for protections of endangered species like elephants and rhinos in her country. So it makes sense that she added that into her national costume. If you notice, there is a giraffe on her shoulder as well as on the printed part of her national costume, the palikpik na part at the back. I think it goes well with the depictions, prints, and embroidery on her gown, on her national costume, with, you know, some tribal-looking prints of women who are carrying yung mga jugs of water in the side of her costume. So it all ties out with the with her culture. Plus with her advocacy. And the thing is, she's using 3D printing for her, for some parts of her national costume. And if you know, if you're familiar with 3D printing, it is actually one of those technologies that are being looked at as possible solutions to the fashion industry when it comes to waste management. Because with 3D printing, if you 3D print your clothes, you're not actually adding waste in the environment, because 3D printing is an additive na manufacturing process where you only use the exact amount of the raw material for the product that you are going to produce. So that is why 3D printing technology is something that has attracted, you know, a lot of research from the fashion industry sector. And then I would love to mention Thailand because it was a sparkly, you know, very Thai show-offy na national costume that was both very traditional but at the same time very modern looking, dahil alam naman natin, hindi naman siguro sila nagkakaroon ng ganung kahabang slit on their national costumes. It was, for me, a gown slash national costume that is merged into one, with the addition of the very traditional na headpiece for her national costume. So it really, you know, wowed me because, again, it ties it into the very cultural aspect of her country. And then I also love the I noted here na parang Pocahontas looking costume of Miss Venezuela. I think, you know, she had one of those very memorable costumes, despite the fact that she was towards at the end of the entire, you know, 86 or 85 candidates in terms of their presentation. I also love yung elephant costume ni Miss Vietnam, although I do hope na sana the costume inside the ao dai that she wore is a little bit more tied in with the concept of her very, you know, very earthy na feel and look, very traditional na look rather than the very modern futuristic na ao dai that she wore. So in terms siguro, if it was up to me, who's the girl that I would be picking for the best in national costume, I think ultimately it will be a matter of taste. But if you're going for impact, I think Indonesia's national costume has the most impactful costume among all the national costumes that was shown. But in terms of the lavishness, richness, you know, cultural and very traditional aspect of a national costume, I would pick Mongolia's green, you know, velvety, satiny national costume with so much details. So I think if I am going to go for impact, definitely Indonesia. But if I'm going to go for more cultural and more traditional, I would go for Mongolia. Now, balik muna tayo sa ating mga comments here. Okay, nasaan na ba yung mga comments? Sabi ni Going Popcorn, tapos na ang live stream sa YouTube ng ME. My God, finally. I thought na aabot talaga siya ng aabot siya talaga ng 11 o'clock dahil I am imagining na yung fashion show baka ang haba-haba. So, thank God. Parang ginawa lang nilang 1 hour per segment. Actually, the entire event could have lasted only around 2 hours and 30 minutes if they just increase the pace on certain presentations and cut out some extra fluff within the entire program. Okay, nasaan na ba tayo? Si Rodwin Fiel, sabi niya, Netherlands, Albania, Philippines so far for me. Rodwin Fiel, I kind of agree, but I am going to expand that list a little bit later on once we're done with this towards the end of this live stream. Sabi niya, yung mismong nanood sa venue, sir, super onti, kaya sad tingnan nung nag-aerial shot sila. Yeah, I agree. When they started at around 5 or late nga hindi pa nga eksaktong 5 parang it was closer to 5:30 when they started. Ang daming empty seats, so sad lang. Pwede rin kasi it is possible that maybe the venue is a bit far or not easily accessible, so that could probably be a contributing factor to that. Nung end ng stream, 4.2 yung nasa live stream. Na inabutan ko yung part ng sinasabi mo na umabot ng 4.2 yung nasa live stream. That was actually towards the national costume show and the swimsuit na event. Towards the the fashion show, bumagsak na until nag 1,200 na lang yung nanonood live doon sa actual na yung kapag nagla-live stream ka kasi nakikita kung ilan yung nanonood simultaneously habang pinapalabas. So that's the thing that nakita ko na bumagsak from 4K to around 1.2K towards the fashion show na. But during the competition segments, maraming tao. So, maraming nakasubaybay sa live stream. Strictly DY Arts and Crafts says, what do you think is the reason why the audience was so small? Was the venue far from the city? I think so. It was either far from the city or not easily accessible, or you need some passes in order for you to be able to enter the event enter the event venue, because if it is a newly built na area, it's a newly built retail space or shopping space or development, there might be some restrictions on who is able to get in. It is also possible that because it's a weekend, people may have had other plans, so they have probably prioritized over the Miss Earth in Dalak. Okay, Midog 9039 says, for me, Indonesia stood out in the national costume, very tikbalang and Pegasus. I kind of agree. When I first saw photos of it, I thought it kind of looks like a tikbalang, but when I noticed that it has wings, so it was more of a Pegasus. Okay. Travel Junkie says, Sir, in fairness, most candidates became more fresh and gorgeous dahil sa makeup ng Vietnam. I kind of agree. I think the glam team there really did a great job. However, I just noticed that for some African and dark-skinned candidates, they were not like very on point in terms of their makeup. I noticed one of the candidates, Miss Mauritius, has a very visible na very light yung concealer sa may eye area. So maybe that's something that they needed still to develop, yung kayang mag-makeup ng dark skinned na mga candidates. Pierre says, Sir, I like Albania to win. I find her very serious about the job as Miss Earth. She is a complete package, and being a polyglot will be advantageous for her. Ukraine is pretty but quite bland. I kind of agree that Ukraine kind of blended in the preliminary competition. and umangat si Albania. So I am putting Albania as a possible threat for the crown. Saldi Salen, the best that they should have done is to have the swimsuit and evening gown together in one outing, then the national costume and fashion show together in another day para hindi boring. And para hindi ganun katagal, because I think the lengthy 2-hour, 3-hour program was too much, plus the fact that it was delayed. And when it started its live stream, there was like around 30 minutes or 20 minutes that was used for commercials for the countdown. So it was quite long. Okay. EJ Belge, naimbag nga bigat from here in British Columbia. Hello, Daga, or Earth rather. Daga is Ilocano for Earth, if you remember. I kind of remember. Jam Amihan says, medyo hindi rin nakahelp sa issue na sa national costume ni Yana due to negotiation misunderstanding. Medyo off lang behavior ng not-cost designer ni Yana, kaya parang hirap ko rin mag-support. Pero go pa rin ako kay Yana. Okay, Jam, I am going to look at that because I didn't know na may issue sa national costume ni Yana. So, well, let's see. Okay, baka may patsa tayo later. Strictly DIY arts and crafts says, for me, the Vietnamese glam team is far better than MU's MUBA. Travel Junkie says, in terms of streaming, there are 3 sites, kay Scattered, FB, and Y in YouTube of ME and YouTube of ME Vietnam. More than 8 to 12K po nanood. Okay, that's good. Yun nga lang, kapag masyadong maraming nag-i-stream, hati din yung audiences. So, here's the thing that I noticed with Miss Earth. They focus so much of their activities on Facebook that pabaya sila sa Instagram. Which, if I were them, since they already have an established following on Facebook, they should have dedicated their live stream on their YouTube channel and just posted the link of their YouTube live stream on their Facebook. Dahil ang mga tao naman pupunta on their Facebook. Right? So that way, hindi masyado split yung mga venues kung saan sila nanonood. Now, I am not sure if you're familiar with the swimsuit issues of the Miss Earth on Instagram. And I am sure some of you are aware of that. Some of you are probably aware that there is an issue in terms of their posting, so that the likes have now been... Okay, the likes are no longer calculated for their Instagram posts, because apparently there is an issue with their Instagram account where natatanggal or nafa-flag yung kanilang mga posts on their Instagram account, where parang natatanggal, nafa-flag, so they delete and then repost yung kanilang mga swimsuit portraits on Instagram. So, what does that mean? It means that the Instagram algorithm is flagging or thinking that the posts of the Miss Earth on Instagram has to be suspicious. That is why nagtatanggal siya, tinatanggal niya. So, nagre-upload ang Miss Earth. Ang problema dito is that because Miss Earth is not as active or is not as does not pay as much attention on their Instagram, nafa-flag ngayon sila ng algorithm ng Instagram. So this is where the problem lies. And I think Miss Earth should start to think of ways to be able to cross-post on the Facebook account as well as their Instagram account, so that hindi sila nafa-flag. Kasi if they're only taking care of their Facebook accounts, and they're not taking care of their Instagram accounts, then when they have activity on their Instagram accounts, that is where it is easy for them to get flagged, because the Instagram algorithm might look at it as this probably is a suspicious post because sunod-sunod yung kanilang mga posting. I think that is where the problem lies with Miss Earth. If they were able to establish, a regular posting schedule on their Instagram, that is where mas magkakaroon ng hindi magkakaroon ng problema rather in terms of Instagram content. So I think that is a possible scenario why they had some issues with their Instagram. So I do hope that people are going to be a little bit more lenient with them, because I think Miss Earth needs a better way of managing their socials. Okay? So Travel Junkie, sinabi mo na there are 3 avenues for their live stream. They could have just cut it into just 2 para hindi hati. Focus all their live streams on their YouTube, and then links on their Facebook, links on their Instagram stories, so that people will be able to go to those YouTube accounts to watch their preliminaries. Okay? Pierre says, Sir, I can't believe that Vietnam surpasses the Philippines in terms of economic progress. Their country is now unstoppable. Miss Earth made their country very enticing to go and invest. Yes, ang pera ngayon nasa Vietnam, nasa Indochina. It's not here in the Philippines. And from what I see, it's going to be a very difficult road ahead, because a lot of investors, and this is nothing against the previous president. I am just speaking facts based on what I read on the news. Based on business reports and business news, a lot of investors were turned off by Duterte's administration. So the investments from foreign countries are not pouring in as of this moment. So this year, and they're projecting up until 2024, 2025 that foreign investments is going to be very trickle down, very minimal. And there are several contributing factors to that. One is that they don't have a lot of confidence in the government, the Philippine government nowadays. 2, they are not very much liquid because they just came in from the pandemic. And then number 3, because the US has been on and off with the recession and they're still on the recovery side, we cannot expect that the US would do a lot of investments here in the Philippines. Kaya ramdam natin yung inflation, ramdam natin yung very difficult life dito sa Pilipinas. You struggle. Nowadays, if you have like 2,000 pesos for groceries, it will just gone by with just a snap of a finger, because that is how difficult life is here currently. Inflation is still a problem here in the Philippines. So and wage increases are very far and in between. So it's kind of an issue right now, and that is the reason why we're feeling the heaviness of the economy as of this point. Unlike in countries that are developing, like Vietnam, and its Indochina neighbors like Laos, Cambodia, they are at the growth period in terms of their economies. With the Philippines kasi, we're a little bit on the mature side in terms of the economy. We've been a republic since the 1918 somethings. We've been over 100 years old in terms of our independence. So ganun din ka-mature na yung ating economy. So the labor here in the Philippines is not cheap. That is why a lot of manufacturing jobs here in the Philippines have migrated to China, into other cheaper neighbors in Asia. So that is the reason why, we really have to to manage our expectations in pageants, because there is also a factor where economic power is, helps in our quest for a major win in any, in any international competition. That is why, tulad ng nababanggit ko during the Miss Universe na period, I don't think that the Miss Universe organization is ready to crown another Filipina winner, simply because there is not much to be gained from their perspective if they crown a Filipino winner. Because in order for them to be able to crown, a girl from the Philippines, there needs to be, an economic gain for them. That is why, if you notice, wala pang isang buwan si Shanice Palacios. She's already traveled to 3 countries. One is Indonesia for a shoot where she is being paid by UC 1000 for her appearance and for her commercials there. 2 is for her, her media tour in Telemundo in Miami. And 3, she's been to Mexico as well to promote the Miss Universe brand. And that's not just that. She was also there to promote the Miss Universe skincare line. So there's a lot of, things that's going on in terms of the backseat, the things that we don't see in pageants. So again, yung sinabi ni Pierre na in terms of economic progress, that is why also we've been seeing a lot of Vietnamese girls placing at international competitions. Yung nakaraan lang na Miss Intercontinental, I think second runner-up ang Vietnam, right after they just won last year. So you know what I'm saying. There is always, a factor there na economies are some of the things that some pageant owners are going to look at when it comes to crowning a winner. They will always crown a winner that would elevate their brand, that will help them with their goals, financially, emotionally, spiritually, whatever. Okay. Jamamihan says, does it mean isa sa mga factors na madalas napipili ang Thailand, Vietnam at Myanmar sa pageant nowadays due to economic powers nila sa ngayon, more business opportunities since growing economy sila? Nasagot ko na yan. I just mentioned, we cannot be blind with that aspect. Okay? The faster that we accept that as a reality, the easier for us to strategize, because if hindi nyo napansin, during the times, okay, again, this is not a political thing, but if you notice that during the times when the Philippines is actually experiencing growth, and this happened during the time where Arroyo, Macapagal Arroyo to Aquino we're bringing in a lot of investments, foreign investment into the Philippines. Yun yung mga panahon na nanalo tayo. 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018. Those are the years that we were keeping on winning. Sasabihin niyo sa akin, oh sir, but si Catriona naman, she won during the time of Duterte. That was pre-pandemic, and that was still during the time where the investments that were poured in during Aquino's time was still spilling over doon sa spilling over during during the first 2 years of Duterte's presidency. During kaya after that, dumating ang 2019, 2020, doon pumasok ang pandemya. So, that's when we started to feel yung difficulties. Utang tayo ng utang. because there's no economic activity going on because of the lockdowns. So that is something that that's something that if you look at the years from 2019 to this year, how many crowns have we won in terms of the major pageants? Di ba wala? Again, hindi ko sinasabi na may direct correlation, but they have parallels. So we really need to be very mindful that if you have economic prowess, mas napapansin ka dahil you have money to spend on on pageants. So let's just be open to that conversation. Okay, now it's bilis natin, naka-isang oras na pala tayo. Hindi pa natin napag-uusapan yung mga swimsuit standouts. So let's now move forward doon sa swimsuit standouts. Kasi medyo marami-rami sila. In fact, I am quite surprised that some of the girls that I did not expect to be very good at pasarela actually performed. Okay? Okay, may pahabol si Jam. Sabi niya, I agree, Sir Jason. Not being political, pero mahirap talaga ang financial power natin sa ngayon. There. Okay, balik tayo. Let's now talk about the swimsuit standouts. Of course, Albania is there. Very tall, very statuesque. Again, height is an advantage. And I think, despite her being very young, she really came into the competition like, I'm here to win. I'm here to make sure that I give my best to win the title. And I think Albania is doing very well in terms of the competition overall. She has the face, she has the height, she has the body proportions. If you were able to hear her speak during the eco presentation, you know that she delivers well in the speaking parts. So I think it is warranted. Lahat ng mga observations ng mga fans, ng mga napapansin natin, that Albania is going to be a threat. For me, I did not initially put her as a possible threat because I haven't heard her speak just yet. After the eco presentation, that was where, okay, I need to start paying attention to her because she can actually, communicate, and she probably is going to be somebody that if she makes top 8, or even top 20, madali na lang for her to coast along into the top 8 and then possible top 4 placement. I like the presentation of Brazil. This year, I find that there's so many girls who relied on their swimsuit capes, doon sa kanilang mga sarongs, doon sa mga beadwork ng kanilang swimsuits, in order for them to be standouts. And with Brazil, there was no fuss, there was no capes, there was no props, there was no sarong. It's just 100% confidence walking down the stage. So I think Brazil did well in this area of the competition. Again, very tall, statuesque, really great body, and really great proportions as well. And then Colombia, despite being, quite short at 5'6", she has a very proportionate body. I like the fact that she had a very clean performance, and she had great musculature as well. I think in terms of the body, I like the way that her body is a little bit more toned, that has a little bit more musculature to it, because it kind of gives me, this is someone who takes care of her body. This is someone who takes care of her, physical fitness, and I really like that in terms of her, overall presentation. Hindi nakasira yung musculature niya doon sa kanyang presentation. Haiti is also someone that I really like because of her long legs. The aqua blue, swimsuit on her dark skin really looked great. I didn't expect na ganun kahaba yung katawan ni Haiti. And then Kazakhstan is also in my list. The neon yellow na swimwear with lots of cutouts really complemented her body. It was very simple but very effective. Mauritius is on my list. Great face, but really needs to work on the pasarela. I think she could have also done a little bit better in the swimsuit if she wore, a one-piece swimsuit that really accentuated her figure. But then again, she did just enough. I think well enough in the presentation side to score, more than enough points. The question now is, was that enough? Next, we have Mexico. I have Mexico on my list. I like her styling here better. I'm not really a fan of the very curly hair that she's been sporting in the competition. I think it would have been much better for her if she had a very clean look, because the curls did not go well with her facial structure. She has, very high cheekbones, very angular jaw. So she really needs to soften her look by either taming her, her curls into more manageable waves, or, straight hair or pulled back hair to expose more of her face. Mongolia, again, is on my list. Tall, lean, very great in her chosen red swimwear. Namibia is also on my list. Almost slipped, but again, her choice of red swimwear looked great on her skin. Netherlands is one of the girls that I think is the scene stealer in the competition. I think she did, if I'm going to put her side by side with Albania, I think I'd pick Netherlands because of her more smooth pasarela on stage. Love the color white on her, and she looked really striking because of the choice of color. I think the makeup artists in Vietnam really like her because she really looked glowing in the swimsuit competition this year. Okay, the P group came in, delivered, and slayed the competition. Paraguay was a standout. Very tall, very... she actually reminds me of a former Miss Venezuela in the 90s. Her name is Ana Maria Amorer. She was a black Miss Venezuela who competed at Miss International and ended up as first runner-up. I think that was in 1995. So Greta Matiauda, I think that's her. I'm sorry if I mispronounced her last name. Really looked great in the evening gown, in the swimsuit portion of the competition. I didn't really actually remember her during the national costume presentation, so I was kind of bummed because I'm thinking, what was she wearing during the national costume, and I can't really remember. So for her, to be one of my standouts in the swimsuit, I think only goes to show that the P group is really very, very competitive. Philippines is on my list. Waist. So first thing that I noticed doon sa swimsuit competition niya is kung gaano kaliit yung kanyang bewang. As a matter of fact, the last time that I was talking, that I saw her this November, she was doing a shoot for a brand. I'm not gonna say kasi hihintay ko muna yung go signal for the reveal of that brand. But Yana was saying na kaya pa niyang ibaba to 22 inches yung kanyang bewang. So, I mean, that's why if you look at her, ang liit ng kanyang bewang. So, maliit yung kanyang bewang tapos bilugan yung kanyang hip. So, it really looks great on her, especially on swimsuit because she really has a very beautiful body. Poland, okay, one thing about Yana's presentation, I think nasobrahan niya lang yung mga posing niya towards the end of the stage. Medyo kalma lang siguro on that aspect come finals, because it really needs to look more polished rather than there were parts kasi noon sa kanyang presentation that really looked like she was forcing it. So she really needs to dial down a bit on, on that aspect. Poland also, activated her face card throughout the swimsuit competition, but you cannot help but look at her body, because she had a very modelist body. She had a model proportions. She looked really tall on her presentation, and she doesn't look as skinny as her swimsuit portrait. She actually looked very healthy and really well proportioned. She didn't look too skinny in her swimsuit presentation. So I am really glad with that. I think because she has a very beautiful face, she didn't need was it a cover up or sarong, or was it a cape? I think it was a cape for the swimsuit competition. I think without the extra props, she could have just walked with just her swimsuit. She would still nail the competition. Portugal is also another underrated competitor who was a standout with her green na swimsuit na choice. Puerto Rico gave us Victoria's Secret in her presentation. I would have loved if she just didn't use the cape anymore, because the necklace that she wore was already like a statement on its own. It would have forced us to look at her face and her body a little bit more without the added extraness of the cape. I think the cape just was a distraction, especially with Victoria having a really gorgeous face. If I'm not mistaken, probably that neck piece was by Giannina Azar, her designer for her evening gown during her stint at Miss Earth Puerto Rico. So I am expecting na come finals, she would wear that same designer as well. Russia was a great standout with her red and black beaded na swimwear. Although again, I just wish na yung capes, she shouldn't have worn the cape anymore. It was too much, I think, and it distracted us from her performance. Okay, and then we have South Africa, who was glowing during the evening. The entire evening, I think the blondes really delivered, because South Africa wore a very gorgeously designed swimwear. The white panels with the see-through panels with the crystal embellished panels really was a visual treat in terms of the design. I think if there was a best swimsuit design, I would have given it to South Africa. I would have loved a little bit more polish in her presentation. There were areas where it felt like it was a little bit rough on the edges, that needs a little bit more, finesse, a little bit more fluidity in the presentation. Now, we have Thailand. Thailand has a great body, looked very healthy. It was not too thin, it was not too muscular, it was just right enough. And then she also had a great presentation and pasarela. So, couple that with a strong communication skills, I think Thailand is going to be a threat for the crown. Venezuela is also, again, Venezuela is Venezuela. She is very tall. She has a great body. If you notice, she has abs during the swimsuit presentation, and that's because she's an athlete. If I'm not mistaken, she is a professional volleyball player, and it really shows in her body. The mere fact that that she has a very she's tall, very model-esque, plus a very toned body, I think she really is going to be an easy shoe-in at the top 20 semifinals this year. The one thing that I do want her to do is to remove, the bangs. I think the bangs is a detachable hair extension. It does not look good on her. I think if she had her hair pulled back in a tight ponytail, high ponytail, that would have been a better choice for her in terms of hairstyle. And then Zambia, fortunately for me, really delivered in her black and white polka dot swimsuit. She was effortless on stage. She was one of those girls that she looked so relaxed, looked so very in her element during the swimsuit competition. She has that, Wendy Fitzwilliam vibes on her, if you haven't noticed, where she looks so calm and composed and collected. In the way that she glided on stage, it felt like she was unbothered with all the noise that all other competitors were doing with all their capes and gimmicks. So I think Zambia, hopefully, if she is able to, communicate well during the closer interview later on, I do hope that she makes, top 20 or even possibly a top 8 or top 4 during the finals. Okay, so who are we now looking at in terms of swimsuit standouts? In terms of design, I would give it to Puerto Rico, Russia, and South Africa. But in terms of the swimsuit presentation, I think Albania is there, Zambia is there, Netherlands, Poland, the Philippines, Thailand, and Venezuela. I think those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 girls. Those 7 girls, for me, had the best swimsuit presentation. Now, if you're going to factor in swimsuit presentation as well as their swimsuit design, then you have a perfect top 10 with South Africa, Russia, Puerto Rico, Albania, Netherlands, Poland, Philippines, Thailand, Venezuela, and Zambia. If I'm going now to narrow down who are the girls that I think are going to be the front runners for this year's competition, then I'd say Albania, I'd say the Philippines, Thailand, Zambia, I'd say Colombia, Puerto Rico, and South Africa. So those are the 7 girls so far that I think is going to kill it in the competition. Oh, I forgot Netherlands, sorry. So that's 8. If it's going to be a choice on who makes top 4, I would love to have an African, an Asian, a Latino, and a European represented in the top 4 of Miss Earth this year. I would love that the 4 elemental winners, the Miss Earth court, would be equally represented by a candidate from each of the continental groupings. That is how I think that this year's batch is a very competitive batch. So if it came down to the wire, I do hope that it's going to be Zambia for Africa, maybe a toss between Thailand and the Philippines for Asia, probably a toss between Albania and Netherlands for Europe, and I'm missing one. Americas, I am hoping it's going to be Colombia, because maybe it's high time that we have a very well accomplished girl to like Colombia to win Miss Earth. However, I am not sure if that would be enough to shake up the rest of the girls in our list, because I think everyone in the competition is really bringing their A game. And I would not be surprised if suddenly we have Albania or Netherlands as the top 2 girls in the competition. Europe and Africa is bringing the heat in this year's Miss Earth competition with a handful of Latinas and Asians in the mix. So I don't know, maybe this year we would see a European or an African winner, but I would not discount a possible win from Asia or a Latina. To be honest, it's going to be very difficult to select who's going to win because the girls are so competitive. There's so much choice. We are spoiled for choice for a possible Miss Earth winner. And I just do hope that the candidate or the delegate that they select for the Miss Earth crown would be someone who can elevate the brand. Now, this is going to be a very unpopular opinion. I think that if I am given the choice now between Sheridan Mortlock and Mina Su Choi for the Miss Earth last year, I would have rather had placed Sheridan as Miss Earth because all of her activities on her socials is always geared towards the Miss Earth ethos as compared to Mina. Mina, for me, I find her lazy when it comes to social media, and that would have been something that would have elevated further the Miss Earth brand because what we need right now, at least in my perspective, is a Miss Earth winner who is going to elevate the Miss Earth brand, and they could have done that much better with Sheridan Mortlock, Miss Australia last year, and hopefully that this year they select someone who has all the qualities, physical and mental and intellectual qualities of what a Miss Earth is should be, as well as the capacity to lift up the image of the Miss Earth brand. Especially now that I think Miss Earth really needs to level up their branding in terms of social media exposure, in terms of visibility, because the Vietnam hosting really gave us a very glossy, a very leveled up Miss Earth presentation. So I do hope that whoever they select as a winner later on would be someone who can elevate the brand. Okay, now let's go to the comments before we wrap this up. Nasaan na ba tayo? We ended up with Jam Mamihan's comments. So I think now, I think si Going Popcorn naman. Sabi niya, Venezuela knows how to steal the show talaga. She lacks the look, but performance made her noticeable. Agree. I think Venezuela, easy top 8, possible, minimum top 20, possible top 8 talaga siya. Pierre says both swimsuit and evening gown of the Netherlands were jaw-dropping. Brooke Shields is reborn. Agree. European countries are serious about Miss Earth. It's their #1 pageant, and I think the Europeans, I would see 2 Europeans at the top 4 of Miss Earth this year, I wouldn't mind. I think that would be a great outcome because there's a lot of strong Europeans in Miss Earth this year. I mean, if we're going to, list down who are the strongest Europeans, I would say it's Russia, Netherlands, Poland, Albania. Medyo nag-fade in sa akin si Ukraine. So, although medyo napansin ko si Miss France dito sa preliminary competition. I love yung red lipstick niya with her red swimsuit during the swimsuit competition. Going Popcorn says, and thank God, straight hair na si Mexico, di talaga bagay yung kulot-kulutan na hair. I agree. It was a terrible styling choice yung kulot niya. Okay. Going Popcorn says, I also noticed Greece is also face card. I kinda agree. Yes. Kaya lang kasi kapag pinagtabi mo na sila ni Poland, masasapawan ni Poland yung ganda ni Miss Greece. Although Miss Greece is gorgeous herself. No doubt about that. Lou AJ says, Philippines deserve to win elemental crown because of her hard work and dedication. However, not yet the crown. I want Miss Earth to gain traction by not crowning Philippines again. Perhaps an elemental crown, but again, I think Yana is really delivering when it counts. I do hope na tawag nito na hindi maging sagabal yung pagiging Miss Philippines niya in winning Miss Earth. But then again, if I am to be honest, medyo konti pang kalma on Yana because nakikitaan ko pa rin siya na yung over-eagerness, yung gigil. So, kinakailangan mas kalmado siya come finals. Art Laurent, bonjour from Paris, my friend. Wow! May chance ba ang Pinas na magkaroon ng Alpha Crown sa katauhan ni Yana Aduana? I think so. I think she has a strong chance of winning Miss Earth, but I will not discount the fact that she also has tough competition this year. There's a lot of girls that I think is going to give her a fight for the crown. The beauty of that is that Yana is up for the challenge. Lou AJ, sabi niya, Thai, Albania, South Africa, Colombia, pwede. I agree. For Asia, I think it's still going to be a toss between Thailand and the Philippines. But who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Nasaan ba? Going Popcorn says, ang hirap mamili, parang lahat frontrunner. Kailan din kaya upload ang evening gown portraits online? I think there are some candidates na nag-leak na. I do hope that they're going to release all of the evening gown portraits because come on, I mean the pageant is almost done. I mean, how many more days before the finals? It's just like maybe around 6 days before the finals is on the 22nd. So hopefully before the 20th, they would release the evening gown portraits. Lou AJ says, Mina took advantage of the K-pop hype last year. Yeah, I kind of agree. Although maybe it's just a matter of preference, but for me, I think it would have been a better choice talaga for Miss Earth to crown Sheridan Mortlock as Miss Earth and Mina as Miss Air as first runner-up. Simply because I think in terms of now, if I'm going to look at the social media presence of Sheridan, she's more active with the activities that are related, more aligned with the Miss Earth ethos as compared to Mina. Mina needs to learn how to be more active on social media because I find her social media a little bit more threadbare. Okay? Travel Junkie says, I'm with you on Zambia or Zimbabwe. Americas, it's Colombia. Asia, it's Philippines or Thailand. Europe, it's Netherlands or Albania. Sentimental favorite is Colombia. I agree. I think Colombia is really, really ripe for a win. Last year, I thought Andrea Aguilera was going to win Miss Earth. But then again, anyone in the top 4 of Miss Earth was destined, for possible Miss Earth. And I think if anything happens that nagkarambulan yung Miss Earth elemental court, it still would be a great winner, whoever among the 4 is going to be crowned Miss Earth. Pierre says, Colombia is undoubtedly intelligent. She's an environmental engineer, but she should speak Spanish because she can convey her thoughts clearly and confidently. Sabi ni Art Laurent, the Netherlands have been doing well. I think it's high time that they deserve to snatch this year's crown. And if you haven't noticed, Netherlands has been consistently been in the top 8 for the last 4 years of Miss Earth. So maybe yes. If Noah plays her cards right for the finals and delivers, a strong performance like she did in the preliminaries this evening, easy top 4. Nobody's going to question if she makes, top 4 and win Miss Earth later this year. Going popcorn, sabi niya, sana ang strategy ng Miss Earth this year parang tulad ng Mr. International, yung leaning towards marketability at brand upliftment, yet so deserving at hindi ka-question ang pagkapanalo. No complaints if 2024 Vietnam will host again. Pero may balita po kayo kung yung Thailand is still interesting in hosting. Yamanin din kasi yung director ng Miss Earth Thailand. I am not yet sure. But if the Miss Earth Thailand would, push for the Miss Earth to happen in Thailand next year, no qualms, go. Kasi Thailand knows how to put up a show. I think if I'm going to compare Thailand versus Vietnam, Thailand still gets the cake when it comes to mounting up a great show. K-pop Bisdak says, do you think Pick ME will crown someone from a non-powerhouse country? Parang 2 straight years na, Belize then Korea. With Miss Earth, if you are deserving of the title, they will crown you. No matter if you come from a small country or a country that is huge in pageantry. That has always been something that you can admire with Miss Earth because they have always been very fair to everyone. If you are deserving of a title, they will give you that title. Lou AJ, sabi niya, pasingit, any chichi sa ating Cubao National Pageant? Malapit na naman ang screening. I haven't heard anything new yet, but the last thing that I've been hearing was that there are a lot of provincial girls na hasana sa mga regional competitions are thinking of joining Binibining Pilipinas this year. I've also heard that possible na 1 million yung main title na prize. So I've been hearing a lot of things. I've been also hearing na baka may pakotse next year. So who knows? I'm still keeping my ears on the ground for any chichi related on our favorite national pageant. But as soon as I hear something, I will be informing everyone about it. Okay, so to wrap all of our conversation this evening, I think this year's Miss Earth is going to be a battlefield between the Europeans and Africans versus the Latinas and Asians. And to be honest, I'm kind of excited with this development because I think this is the first time that I feel that the Europeans and Africans are on equal footing when it comes to the possibility of winning an international competition. I've felt that at Miss Universe, it's going to be one-sided towards the Latinas, and that's what's happened, I believe. When I said that if Miss Universe is going to, crown and crown for, for longevity, so that they can sustain their pageant, they should crown a Latina and either a Latina or Thailand, and that's exactly what happened with the top 2 being a Latina and Miss Thailand. Now this year, I honestly cannot say the same thing with full confidence that it's going to be a Latina, it's going to be a European for Miss Earth. I think that the best case scenario that we can come up with is to have a European flag bearer, an African flag bearer, an Asian flag bearer, and a Latina flag bearer at the top 4 of Miss Earth this year. It is so very much competitive that it would be a disservice to the girls if I just narrow my pick of who is going to be possible Miss Earth with a list of top 8. I think if you're going to ask me now, it is possible that I can give you a list of 12 or even 16 girls who can possibly become the next Miss Earth. That is how competitive and how rich the delegates are in terms of the potential to win Miss Earth this year. So the best thing that I can do is to just wish all of our favorites the best of luck in the Miss Earth competition on the 22nd. And I do hope that this year the Miss Earth would start thinking a little bit selfishly when it comes to crowning a possible winner that would elevate their brand. Because ultimately, I think this is now the opportunity for Miss Earth to really expand and grow their brand after a very fabulous staging at Vietnam this year. So I do hope that ultimately, the one who's going to win is someone who is deserving, but at the same time, someone who's going to work hard to elevate the Miss Earth brand. Okay? Thank you very much for everyone who has joined in this live stream. Before we leave, can you please leave a like on our live stream so that it's going to be pushed to more audiences when we're done with our discussions here. I do hope that you would subscribe to our channel and help me continue to grow this channel. I do hope that in our next live stream, probably closer before the Miss Earth finals, I am still thinking of possibly doing the live stream either on the 20th or on the 21st of December. But I will give you a heads up later on before I finalize that. Okay? Thank you very much for everyone who stuck and listened to our long live stream. Sinabi ko na I'm gonna try to have it in just an hour. But again, eto na naman tayo. Umabot na naman tayo ng an hour and 41 minutes. So thank you very much for everyone who's been very communicative in our discussions this evening. Okay? Till the next live stream, see you soon and do take care. Okay? Bye everyone and have a great weekend. Bye!